All right, gonna keep going with the check-in. Yesterday, which is the first one there, creating using the equations. We'll come back, we'll do that some more later on when we mix everything together. For today, really gonna focus on working with systems of equations. All right, remember that's getting like the two equations and usually solving for one of the values. Both. All right, so we got here, Jose had 4 times as many trading cards as Felipe. After Jose gave away 50 cards to his little brother and Felipe gave away 5 cards to his friend for his birthday, they each had an equal amount of cards. Write a system to describe the situation, solve the system. So the first thing we want to do ever is get the two equations. All right, so right there is where we'll get one equation. If I didn't do that, oh, I need that part. That'd be the other equation, okay? Usually that's how it works. There's usually going to be like a sentence for one equation, a sentence for another. So it says Jose had 4 times as many trading cards as Felipe. So Jose's got more, right? So one equation, I'll put J for Jose, and it's going to be 4 times as many as Felipe. So there's one equation. The other equation, it says after Jose gave away 50 cards to his little brother, so Jose, what happened to his number of cards? Decreased by 50, so we got minus 50. It said they'll have an equal amount, and that's after Felipe gave away 5 cards. So Felipe minus 5. All right, everybody go with those two equations. Now the easy way to do this is Desmos. All right, if you do it on Desmos, you gotta make one of them Y, one of them X. Desmos won't do it with J and P. It's easier to keep track of who's who if you use variables like that, but so if you make that Y, that X, that means the J is Y, P is X, one. And what you're looking for when you do that is the point where they cross. So based on how I put the variables, the Y value would be Jose's number of cards where they cross. The X value is going to be Felipe's. So in this case, you get Y equals, 60. And X equals 15. All right, the answer choice, it could be a multiple choice one where it asks you for both of them. It could ask you to do some sort of math with them, like add them together, subtract them together, whatever. Any questions on that? All right, so let's say we did it without Desmos. What you want to do is we are going to take, in this case, substitution. Whoops. All right, so it tells us so when I do that, that gives me 4P minus 50 equals P minus 5. Do an opposite. When you want to do that, you want to move the lower coefficient. So minus P, that cancels it out. Over here, that gives me 3P minus 50 equals negative 5. Add 50 to each side to solve. So we got 3P equals 45. We divide by 3. We get P, which that was our X value earlier. I made Felipe. And plug it into the one that looks easier to work with. times 15, that gives us, okay? A problem like this could be on the active or inactive. If it's on the inactive, you got to kind of solve it that way. On the active, obviously Desmos makes it a whole lot easier, but to have a chance really to get this, you need to get the equations right first. Any questions on that? All right, y'all give that one a try. All right, so for this one here, we got Thursday. Restaurant collected $467, selling 21 vegetarian specials, 40 chicken specials. So 21 vegetarian, 40 chicken, 467 total. All right, so that'd be how I'd write that first equation. On Friday then, we have $484, selling 28 vegetarian and 36 chicken, and that gives us a total of 484. Everybody kind of follow on those equations we had? All right, so if you use Desmos, you gotta make one of them X, one of them Y. It doesn't make a difference which one's which, as long as you keep track of which one's which, okay? So when we get that, what do we get for the vegetarian ones? 7, and chicken? 8. All right, anybody got any questions on that? Calculator active, Desmos is taking care of most of the work for you, as long as you get your equations correct. All right, number one, give that a try. This one's not asking you for both parts though. So you always got to pay attention what it's asking for. It's asking for cost of candy bar. All right, you can tell me how much the candy bar costs. Aiden? Yeah, 75 cents. So we'd have 60 candy bars, 110 drinks equals $265. 120 candy bars, 90 drinks equals 270. All right, so that's how I would write the equations. You put it in Desmos, keep track of which one you're using as X and Y. You would have got 75 cents and $2. Candy bar was the one that was represented by 75 cents. If you were doing this without Desmos, easiest way to do one like this is elimination, okay? What that means we need to do is we need to make one of the variables equal to another one so they'll cancel each other out. The easiest way to do that is to take this first equation and multiply everything by 2. So that gives 120C plus 220 D equals 530. All right, so when I multiply it by 2, I get that. I'm going to subtract the one left in black from the red one, okay? Just because the red has higher values for the other stuff, that'll keep things positive. My candy bars are canceling out, which is what you need to happen for elimination. We'll have to do a little extra work to get back to it, but that's still what we need to do. 220 minus 90 is 130D. 530 minus 270 is 260. So when we divide 260 by 130, that's where we get the drinks equaling 2. If we take it and we plug it back in, use the original one there in black, 110 times 2 is 220. If I subtract that from the other side, that gives me 45. And then I divide by 60. 45 divided by 60 is giving me 0.75. Everybody kind of follow on that? All right, let's try another one then. 2 times Antonio's age plus 3 times Sarah's age equals 34. Sarah's age is also 5 times Antonio's age. How old is Sarah? Tell me, how old is Sarah? Yeah, Sarah's going to be 10 years. So those would be the 2 equations I have. It says 2 times Antonio's age plus 3 times Sarah's age equals 34. That's the first one. Sarah's age is also 5 times Antonio's age. If we solve without Desmos, we substitute the 5a goes in for the s. So we still have 3 times the 5a. So that would give us 2a plus 15a equals 34. That's 17a equals 34. So when we divide, We get Antonio's age is 2. Back into that 5a. 5 times 2 gives us 10. Any questions on that? That's definitely the type that would be on the inactive. There's nothing about the math there that you shouldn't be able to do, right? Only kind of difficult, not really that difficult, was 34 divided by 17, right? It was 2, so we should be able to do that one.